Hello guys, I've got one new short video today for you before we return to long video Let's Plays, and this is a very little bizarre one where I didn't really reform Russia for a good 64, 63 years it's been, I think. This is a Russia that still has traditionalism, land-based taxation, serfdom, child labor, no worker rights, peasant levies, hereditary bureaucrats, autocracy. We do have public health care, though, and a dedicated police force, because those are just always great laws. Yeah, so this was just a very meme run, kind of LARPing, as a Russian Tsar, mostly. Trying to see how long I could make this last, and to be honest, it's gone better than I expected. We actually have the largest economy, with our GDP per capita just over 2, at 267 million in GDP. We're over double of Britain themselves, who has a much larger GDPC of 2.52. Look, they're trying their best, okay? There's a lot of wars going on. So the greatest thing, and by that I mean the worst thing about this, is the fact that our market access price impact is at 75% for the good states, the ones that have the extra 5% from rivers. Everything else is sitting at 70. It is 1889 with a 25% literacy rate because I can't make schools because we have serfdom and we still have state religion. So I can't do private schools. Which means we were struggling with qualifications for a good while. We're still struggling with the fact of distribution of goods. And you might notice a lot of yellow on this screen. Because I decided, since I can't get my construction up, since our tax law can't be changed, because again, we're on traditionalism, it won't let us change it unless we do consumption-based, I decided, why not outsource our construction needs? Don't know how I did it, but I managed to get 3 great powers in Europe to all be my defensive allies and mutual investors. We got the Dutch, we've got Hanover, Qing, Mexico, Egypt, they're all investing into the country. We do have various subject states like Persia still. Belgium is also a subject over here. They're actually one of the few that are paying a lot of money, which is also helping the treasury. See, we can't just exploit our own people through serfdom. We have to outsource the exploitation and exploit people in places like Belgium for money. In fact, let me escalate that really quick just to see what it would look like if I had done this. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Wow, yeah, I should have done this extra exploitation a while ago. That's an extra 53K. Yeah, so this is pain. To get around the fact that qualifications were generating so slowly, I quite literally had to hard invest into agriculture. And when I say hard invest, I mean we just built it and we didn't upgrade the production method. We just built it, got liquor, started trying to sell the liquor overseas, we got the grain, tried to export the grain, make food, or make groceries from the grain, export the food, just to create demand to forcefully employ people. Now, we do have one rye farm that is actually using fertilizer as a bit of an experiment with the market access price impact, and generally came to the conclusion that, my god, traditionalism sucks. As if we needed a test for that. But yeah, a lot of our stuff is being bought up by foreign markets because our investment pool is being hampered badly by traditionalism. But it has gotten to the point where we have so many rye farms owned by the government that we're actually getting some kind of investment pool out of it. Not a lot, but it technically exists. The companies do exist too. They are actually profitable because of the select few that they have actually bought out. Russian Foods is at 10 of 33, for example. But if we were to go over to the GDP ownership map mode, you might notice there's a lot of spaces here that are not dark green, because the dark green indicates full ownership. You might notice there are states where we barely own 30% of the economy there. Some of it is better. Bessarabia, we don't even own 20% of it. In fact, it's Austrian investors that own the most. So we're not only outsourcing exploitation of our own subjects, we're outsourcing ownership. But despite that, thanks to hereditary bureaucrats, we actually still have 0.61% of the population are aristocrats, which is great. Did I mention traditionalism not only hurts your market access impact, it also hurts your taxation capacity by 25%. We're on hereditary bureaucrats. which means we have to build more government administration just to get the same amount of tax revenue because of that 25% reduction. The good news is that it means we get more aristocrats, and look at them, they're doing so nice. 25 standard of living. Yeah, our taxes are very high. They have to be very high. But despite that, despite the conditions, look at our pop growth. We're 2.1% with public health care. The Orthodox Church is loving us. Because funny thing, our literacy is low. So literacy is causing about a -2 to -3% rate on growth for most pops. The ones that are able to get higher because of their wealth, due to them running a government job, are getting up there instead, to where it's probably closer to -4, because that affects the birth rate. But as a result, we are getting a lot of pop growth. And another fun thing about not educating the masses that I did learn, if you have socialist and radical movements, but the literacy of your pops are too low, they will actually get a negative modifier to joining those groups. So normally, this socialist movement would be grabbing the laborers the most, despite being above the expected standard of living, because high literacy is meant to make them join it. But their literacy is so low, it's almost completely eliminating their interest in joining it. Same with the radical movement, because their literacy is so low, and also the movement's suppressed, despite the fact the country has no voting franchise, because they're not very educated, they can't care. They just can't care. Literacy, absolutist movement, I think the liberal movement too, right? Yeah, so literacy being low is actually hampering their ability to join a bunch of these reformist groups that would change things. Except the absolutist movement, I'm not sure why literacy is an impact here. I guess if literacy is very low, yeah, high literacy, there it is. If literacy is very low, they just don't join in general. But man, do they love the traditionalist movement. Man, do they love it, because God, they don't know what else to join. Oh, that's funny. Their literacy is so low, even the Russian supremacist movement is difficult to join. So low literacy just makes them unengaged in political movements, which actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Grain has been a constant price being above. This is just how it's been. I've been having to localize the economies more because of the fact that it's difficult to import everything. So even though the market price of fabric is -26 in total, because the market access price impact is 70%, it's plus 3% fabric cost here, which is making it difficult for this textile mill to be profitable. Because it's also difficult for it to export the clothes. It's very difficult for it to import dye. Tools are way more expensive than they should be. All because we still have traditionalism. Our standard of living average is 13.1, but that is with a +2 modifier from healthcare. Because remember, this works by whole numbers. 2.9 doesn't make it go up, but 2.0 will. And we're taxing everyone. 22% on the lower strata, 26 on the middle, 27 on the upper, because they're all consumption taxes. As everyone becomes a non-peasant, we have to increasingly rely on consumption taxes to pay for everything. And funnily enough, liquor is one of the top 3 in terms of price. We're also taxing groceries, because at the time only the wealthy were eating it, but that kind of spread out now, and we're just taxing everything. We could arguably tax even more, but I felt like I should draw a line, since things are actually growing and we kind of need more demand to make any of this function. The fact this is functioning at all is actually ridiculous. The fact we're at 267 million GDP, a GDP per capita of 2, with traditionalism and basically no schools. There's no education here. The only education we get is from population wealth. It's ridiculous. Honestly, the only laws that have changed on this screen is public healthcare and dedicated police force. Everything else you see on this screen is exactly what Russia starts with. We have been running with this since the start. Technologically speaking, we have gotten to the third era of technologies, thanks to tech spread, because we did build a lot of universities to counteract the fact that we don't do research good. That being said, we're at the third era in 1889. We don't even have Zeppelins. I thought about starting Zeppelins, and then I thought, let's just see how this goes without any price impact benefits. So we are running on Era 3 technology, while Europe's probably running on Era 4 over here, except Austria, maybe. I think... No, even Austria is more educated than us. Even they have a higher literacy. We're kind of, we really kind of fell behind the rest of Europe, except the Ottomans. The Ottomans are, you know... Actually, no, even the Ottomans have a higher literacy rate than us. What about Persia? Persia technically has a higher literacy rate by 0.1, so... Take that as you will. Oh my goodness. Yep, so we're just exporting what we can. We've had to fight a couple of wars, but the last two wars, one where we got Oregon and one where we took a bit of British territory in Hormuz and gave it to Persia, were both won without a shot because of our alliance network with Prussia, France, and Austria. If anyone attacks us, we just call all three of these in, and while they all dislike each other, they all love Russia. And then everyone hates Britain because it's Britain. And France used to really like the US, but after we pulled them in for a war, when the US declared war on us for Alaska and we just got Oregon instead, it broke their relationship down. So, Russian influence is doing so well, we're at minus 1,200 influence, because within the last couple of months in the game, America went bankrupt. It went bankrupt. It's been recovering, but it declared bankruptcy. It's got slavery trade condemned, and it's overreaching on its influence still. Or, yeah. So they're in the middle of recovery for that right now. I'm sorry, was that armed forces? Ethno-nationalist armed forces? What kind of America is this? Are they in the same party, or is this just a single party? Democratic Party? Okay, they have that's weird. Whig Party, and then are they in their own party over here? No, they were just kicked out of government for being different. Yeah. And if you go out here in Siberia, it's a similar situation. They mostly just live in rye farms. We can't build up a lot of these mines. We can, but they're not very profitable. Because remember, they're 30% dependent on the price here for iron in just the local production and consumption of it. So if we head over here to Perm, the price of iron is +3 in the market, but Perm is selling it at -20% because of that 15% difference in price setting. Or the price impact. So if we were to switch off traditionalism, this -20 is probably going to be closer to -10, maybe -8. Like, it's a significant difference. And this assumes the +3% in the national market would stay. We're not even using explosives in this. We are in the gold mines because, well, we needed to mint somehow, and there's kind of a cap on the GDP. So the mines get explosives no matter how difficult it is to get it there. Certain states, like Kiev here, still contribute significantly to the economy, but it's basically a consumer economy of just making groceries and shoving it down everyone's throats because that's the only way we get money here. And we sold so much of the stuff we built. A lot of this that you see here are investments made by various foreign investors, but a lot of it is also stuff that we built, like these textile mills, that we then just sold to them. That's why, despite our credit being really high right now at 76 million, and why we had actually been running a deficit until we made those protectorate subjects, is because we were selling it off. Last I saw, this was closer to 95 million, but we kept selling buildings to our investors that had actually lowered it despite us running like a 70k deficit. And I could absolutely keep this going, but I'm kind of reaching my limit with it here. I can't grow it any faster. I can't build as fast as you normally would. But this has made me think the next run I do, whatever that run that will be, I'm going to do lots of mutual investment. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see if that accelerates the global economy or not. And against all odds, our power block does have the largest GDP barely compared to Britain. Somehow. I guess having a lot of subjects would do that. Oh, Wallachia, I missed you. Remember what I said, we've got to outsource the exploitation. In fact, if I wanted to really outsource the exploitation, if I really wanted to do it, I would have raised subject payments before my influence died. But that's not happening now. Yeah. I guess one more example is building motor industries in Rostov just to have it there for the cotton plantations, because otherwise these are horrendously expensive. If we go to Kuban and check the tea plantations, I didn't build any of these, by the way. This was all built by private investment. All 23 levels of it were built by private investment. Yeah, the engines are pretty expensive here, plus 39% instead of 24. And the tea is at minus 37% price instead of minus 21. And keep in mind, this makes it harder to export it as well, because the amount of buy orders that are actually reaching the market is not going to be quite the same. Or at least I think it isn't. It might still be, but it makes it harder to keep this base price down, because this is just really, really bad due to the local price setting. You have areas like Poland with lots of unemployment because we've been focusing on employing the peasants at the expense of the unemployed themselves, which has been slowly growing. Oh, the doggo see things. It might be time. Alright, so I think that is gonna probably do it here, because there's not much else to show you. We just kind of exploited the masses and somehow got the largest economy despite being nerfed by traditionalism, nerfed by serfdom, nerfed by every bloody law in the book. So if you liked this, let me know. I thought this would be a nice different thing, just because, hey, instead of breaking the game by making really high numbers, why don't we break the game with very bad laws? Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time when we check out a Frostpunk 2 mod, and then return to Atomfall. Till then.